going to go ahead and get into a follow-up from yesterday's story about Trey Reed. And Trey Reed is the black student that was found hanging from a tree at a Mississippi college. So let's go ahead and get into the follow-up um, to, let's see here, okay, to what is now going on as far as the autopsy and independent autopsy that his family was wanting and all of that. Okay, so let's get into it. Colin Kaepernick funding independent autopsy for black student found hanging from tree at Mississippi College. All right, controversial fired NFL quarterback Colin Kaepernick is paying for an independent autopsy for a black student who was found hanging from a tree on his Mississippi College campus after the student's family challenged the official ruling of unaliving by self. Self-unaliving is the official ruling. So, DeMartravion Trey Reed, 21, was found dead Monday morning hanging from a tree near the pickleball courts at Delta State University in Cleveland, according to police. The county coroner officially ruled Thursday that Reed died of self-unaliving, and police have said no foul play was suspected, teasing that they had video of the student's tragic ending. Okay, just scrolling down, there's a picture of a different picture of Trey Reed than what I've seen before, and then also a photo of Colin Kaepernick. However, Reed's family has raised serious concerns about his unaliving after receiving conflicting accounts. This is in quotes. Raised serious concerns, and then also in quotes, after receiving conflicting accounts and incomplete information about the cause of his unaliving, according to Ben Crump, the high-profile civil rights attorney now representing them. Crump said Kaepernick's Know Your Rights Camp autopsy initiative will fund a second independent autopsy. Trey's death, and this is in quotes, Trey's death evoked the collective memory of a community that has suffered a historic wound over many, many years and many, many unalivings. Peace will come only by getting to the truth, Crump said in a statement. And then, also in quotes, we thank Colin Kaepernick for supporting this grieving family and the cause of justice and truth. Reed's death sparked controversies because of the way he was found hanged, with rumors he suffered broken bones. However, Bolivar County Coroner Randolph Seals Jr. said earlier this week that Reed, in quotes, did not suffer any lacerations, contusions, compound fractures, broken bones, or injuries consistent with an assault. Mississippi Department of Public Safety Commissioner Sean Tyndall said, I condemn the rumors circulating regarding Reed's unaliving. Hello, if you're coming in, thank you for stopping by. And hello, Nico Garcia. I appreciate you coming in. All right, and so Delta State University Police Chief Michael Peeler said investigators are reviewing footage to determine what happened to the computer science major. So Trey Reed was a computer science major. And then Jaquan Wallace, president of the school's African American Student Council, said he saw Reed on Sunday night having a heated discussion on the phone just hours before his death. And then he said in quotes, I could tell he was real upset. He was making gestures and was acting like he was throwing stuff. He would kick the wall, and then he stormed off toward Blanchette Hall, Wallace told the Clarion Ledger. And then also in quotes by Jaquan Wallace, he was just out of it. He was real upset, and I had never seen him like that before. Okay, and that is, hello, Yaba the Great. Thank y'all for stopping in. And also, thank you for hopping in the chat. I appreciate the engagement. Okay, so there was another article about this, and it's kind of long, so I'm going to touch on just some key points from this article. So we know that the official ruling is self-unaliving at this point. His family is getting an independent autopsy, and Colin Kaepernick is funding the independent autopsy for the family. So that is really wonderful of him to be doing that. Let's see. Then we have this student who is now, it's being reported that he saw Reed appearing very upset and having a heated phone conversation hours before his unaliving. So just read about that. And then also students have organized a candlelight vigil and are seeking answers amid shock and concern on the campus. So that is really nice that they're doing that. Let's see here. I'm gonna just see if I see anything different from this article. I thought it was interesting that this person just now came out and said that they, which maybe he did tell somebody before, that he saw him being very upset. I just hadn't seen that reported in the beginning. So let's see. So in the confusion of the moment, DSU football coach Todd Cooley was called to the scene to identify the body, with officials believing the unaliving was that of a Statesman player. Just a second. Hi, Betty. Hi, thanks for stopping in. Okay, and then it said, this is a article from the Clarion Ledger. I do apologize. You can look for these online. And then also the first article was from the New York Post. So this one, I'm just kind of hopping in here on the Clarion Ledger because a lot of these things I've said already. So I just wanted to report the new information that was in this article. So it reads, it wasn't long before it was apparent that the man hanging from the tree was DeMar Travian Trey Reed, a 21-year-old computer science major from Grenada. And then in quotes, Coach Cooley drove over there as fast as he could because everyone thought it was a football player, a Darian Blackburn, a freshman tight end on the DSU football team from Jonesboro, Arkansas, told the Clarion Ledger September 17th. And then in quotes also, when we were in a team meeting later that day, I thought he was going to break down in tears because of how sad that was. He told us that what he had seen would never be out of his mind. So, it was reported that one person saw him there, hanging, and of course called 911. But this is also reporting, I think I'm about to get to that part, that the football team was out jogging and they saw it. Apparently, this was not like in a secluded area at all. It was kind of like in the middle of where everybody could see it once they started getting going that morning. So anyway, let me let me go ahead and read what it says. So Blackburn said Cooley gave all of his players the option of taking the day off of practice, even though the team is preparing for a game at Fort Valley State University this weekend. And then in quotes, it was a sad day. Blackburn said it was just quiet in the meeting. We didn't practice. We just came back to the dorms and the vibes were just totally different. Everything was just completely off. Whew. I can imagine. And then when contacted, Cooley said he would refer all questions about the tragedy to university officials or law enforcement. And then I talked about this a little bit yesterday, the other hanging that was discovered on the same day of Corey Zukaitis. So this article mentions it. So the hanging was one of 2 hangings in Mississippi on September 15th, as Corey Zukaitis, 36, of Brandon, was also found unalived hanging from a tree around 1:30 p.m. Monday in Vicksburg. And then I did read that article. So apparently he was a white homeless male, and from the article and from the account of, because that's all we have. So from the article and from the account of the people that were around him, they said that he had the opportunity to get this, and I'm talking about Corey Zukaitis now. They said that he had the opportunity to get some housing, I think shelter housing recently, and he had declined that housing because they wouldn't take his dog in. And then at, some future point, I guess it was maybe right before he unalived himself, his dog was taken by animal control, and the person that was speaking within the article said that basically they felt like he was just in a bad place because his dog was pretty much all that he had. So that was what he had to say about Corey Zukaitis, the homeless man that was found hanging from a tree also on the same day. What I'm wondering is just like how, is this in the past? Is this prevalent? Do people just, get a rope and hang themselves from trees in Mississippi? Like, what is going on with that? Because even with the homeless man, I still find this a little bit hard to believe that people unalive themselves in this way. Just, I don't know, so readily, or like you would find 2 of these on the same day. And unless this is something that I just don't hear about that comes out of Mississippi. So I don't know. But anyway, back to the article. So let's see, someone saying in quotes, things are kind of getting back to normal on campus, but you can still hear people talking about the situation. And then the other situation that happened in Vicksburg, Blackburn said. So people are still on edge a little, and people are trying to get past it all, but it's hard to. I know I went in my dorm on Monday and never came back out until the next day. It has all been hard. So then they go on to talk a little bit more about the student that saw Reed in the heated discussion. We talked about that. And then it goes on to so I'll read this. The president of the African American Student Council, Jaquan Wallace, said that he actually saw Reed on Sunday night. So this is the person that's talking about how he did see him upset. just hours before the tragedy, having a heated discussion on the phone. He says, I woke up that morning and heard that they found someone hanging from a fruit tree near Blansett Hall. You wonder who could it be, said Wallace, a 20-year-old from Baldwin. They said it was a black person with red hair. I was thinking I just saw this guy with a red hair accessory on. Then more description came out, and it was a red hair accessory, not red hair, probably like a hair cap, do rag, or something like that. So it was a red hair accessory and not red hair. I had just seen this guy the previous night. We weren't like friends, but I would see him walking around from time to time. Brandon's Gaming. Hi, Brandon's Gaming. Oh, let's see. Let me speak to y'all. Ryan Wood, and then Brandon's Gaming. So hello, thank y'all for coming by. I'm talking about Trey Reed. Okay, so we weren't friends, but I would see him walking around from time to time. That previous night, my roommate and I were about to go get some food, and I saw Trey sitting out there in front of Blansett Hall by himself on the phone. I asked him if he was okay. He looked up at me and then just looked down at his phone and didn't say anything. I didn't really press him if he didn't want to talk. And then he says, when my roommate and I came back, we saw him again at a distance, and he didn't see us. I could tell he was real upset. He was making gestures and was acting like he was just throwing stuff. He would kick the wall, and then he stormed off toward Blansett Hall. He was just out of it. He was real upset. I had never seen him like that before. He had on that red do-rag, I thought so, that night. It was easy to describe him. Yeah, that was him. This was a student just like us, and just like us, that may have been crying out for help, but we didn't know how to start. My oh my. Matumi Matthews, a 20-year-old basketball player at DSU from South Haven, who is also on the committee to organize the vigil, said the students at Delta State are still in shock. And then in quotes, you really don't expect to wake up in the morning and hear somebody's hanging from a tree. That's first, Matthews said. We just want to know what happens next. That's what I have been hearing from students. And then what do Delta State students think? So here's another person answering that, says, we don't know what to do. We just want answers, said Colby Horace, a 21-year-old from Mobile, Alabama, who plays basketball for Delta State. We really don't know what the cause is. If it really was self-unaliving, we want to make sure people have somebody to talk to. This is bigger than just one person. Man, I'm glad they're looking at it like that. And then Horace had been at a press conference on campus earlier in the day where law enforcement officials updated the community on the progress of the investigation. There, he said he was there to see if, he said he was there to see if officials were going to, quote, tell the truth. My God. Let's see, if you're just coming in, we're talking about Trey Reed. So hello, Furcan W and Willie Hukoch and Baba Diawara. Hey y'all, thanks for stopping by. Okay, so all right. So I'm going to end with this. According to the Southern Poverty Law Center, there have been at least 8 suspected hangings of black men and teenagers found hanging in Mississippi since the year 2000. So that's 8 in 25 years, and then you got 2 on the same day. That is, well, the other man, he wouldn't be in this statistic because he wasn't black, he was white. Okay, so, but he was homeless. Okay. However, the SPLC said local authorities in most cases have officially ruled these, well, it says, however, local authorities in most of these cases have officially ruled these to be self-unalivings, despite family members and civil rights activists raising objections and citing suspicious circumstances. Very interesting. Very interesting. This article actually goes on, but I'm going to leave it right there. If you want to read this, this is online in the Clarion Ledger. And you can read this article in its fullness. The other article that I read was from the New York Post about Colin Kaepernick funding the independent autopsy. So that's that on that. I want to thank y'all for coming in, and thank you for hopping into the live. So yeah, well wishes and prayers for peace go out from me anyway to Trey Reed's family. All right, thank y'all for coming in, and I will see you on the next one. Bye-bye.